All right, so our much awaited conversation on synthetics is here, and guys, I got them in all colors. I have orange, not sure this is orange, but close to. Have yellow, I have blue, I have this hot pink right here. Come on, where are you going? I have blacks, man, because we all love our braids. So I got them in different colors. I even came here with my hot water. Don't worry, we are not going to use hot water at all, but I know you are familiar with this, and you are familiar with that basin where they put the braids and they tell you, you know what, even on the packs it's written hot water friendly, or you can even use with hot water. But as we continue, you'll find out why you should never even put your braids on hot water. All right, so I know this is a very sensitive conversation, but we are going to keep it real because we have to talk about it, and whatever I say today will be said with so much love because it affects almost every black woman I know. Yes, this synthetic here, right? The braids, these braids that we love, some we even call them protective. We sit in salons 4-5 hours just to get our perfect braids. We even have wigs, you know, the fox locks, the cheap packs that we will buy in town, in salons, in beauty supply stores, because let's be honest, again, not all of us can afford human hair. So I'm going to talk about this hair, not to shame anyone, not to tell you please throw it away, but to show you what scientists are now finding and what nobody ever bothered to tell us. Let's go straight to the point. A 2025 investigation by Consumer Reports indicates that many of the synthetic braiding hairs being sold across the US and exported widely to African markets were found to contain non-carcinogens. These are heavy metals like lead and volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that release toxic fumes when the hair is heated. Researchers tested 10 of the most popular brands used by black women, and every single one of them contained hazardous substances, including benzene, styrene, and toluene, all of which are recognized by the US Environmental Protection Agency and the World Health Organization as potential causes of cancer or neurological damage. Let's pause there. If you have a packet of braids, I want you to take it, and you will realize something. They don't even tell you what the ingredients are. They will just tell you you can use hot water or human hair like, or just weird things, but they will never tell you what this hair is made of at all. And we are not just talking about that American data. There is a 2024 review, Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, that found that hair care products marketed widely to black women contain endocrine disrupting substances linked with reproductive health issues and cancer. Are we together? In other words, the same beauty industry that tells black women this is safe, this is protective, this is clean, has quietly been selling you products laced with chemicals that they would never get away with in other markets, because you can't do this in Europe. You know, European Union laws are very strict. But even more alarming, the Environmental Working Group revealed that hair care products marketed to black women are more than twice as likely to contain hazardous ingredients linked to cancer or hormone disruption compared to mainstream products. And these are the same categories into which synthetic braiding hair falls. Products that stay on the near scalp for weeks, sometimes months. I know some of us will have them for 2 weeks, some of us will do 2 months, some of us will even do 3 months. So when I say this is not a conspiracy, I mean it. And that is why I had to quote all those people, all those research, and I'm going to attach them on the description box so that you guys can go and take a look. These are lab verified findings. Chemical engineers, toxicologists, and environmental health scientists have confirmed that the very hair you guys are calling protective or these braids is exposing millions of women and young girls to compounds that can irritate the skin, disrupt your hormones, and over time increase risks linked to cancer. All right? And if you think that's just an American problem, please think again. The majority of synthetic braiding hair sold in Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, or even Nigeria is imported from China and South Korea, where manufacturers use low-cost polymer fibers such as canecolone and toyocolone, both of which are forms of polyvinyl chloride, PVC. Guys, when PVC is burned, the same way stylists often melt braid ends, right? It releases dioxins and hydrogen chloride, two of the most toxic substances identified by the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP. Dioxins are persistent organic pollutants, meaning once they enter the human body or the environment, they don't just disappear, they accumulate. So yes, these are the same braids we will buy just to look neat, the same ones we will use on our daughters when they are going back to school, the same ones we will dip in boiling water or seal with a lighter. Have you seen? I think earlier on when we were growing up, I think they had not even discovered hot water. But you remember when we were young, before they discovered hot water, I'm just going to do it from a distance, but this is what they would do to the ends, right? There. And then they would, I can't do it because it's going to release the fumes, and those fumes are the ones we are saying are poisonous. Then the saloonist would light this end and then coil it just to make sure that it's strong and it doesn't come out. All right? So while they are doing that, here's some hot water. I think I have a bit of braids here. Sorry, these are twists, but you get the idea. What now they do, they dip them in the jugs. You know, they tell you to bend, then they dip that in the jug, and then they wipe, right? That is what we are calling dangerous. Because you are going to inhale these gases that scientists have literally classified as carcinogenic. When we install braids, we do those things. We dip the hair in hot water, or we do what? We burn and roll the tips to seal them. Or we even blow dry them. Now, you'll even see your stylist, instead of just to make sure they smoothen these edges, they are going to blow dry. Like, they'll hold the braids like this, and then they are going to blow dry like that, just to make sure these annoying edges, these ones here, these annoying ones are gone. Yes, that is how we've always done these things, right? And you've seen it. You'll see them light it, you'll see them twist fast between their fingers to coil, you know, once they hit it, and they'll move on to the next client, and you will go home. But according to a 2024 study published in the Journal of Environmental Health Perspectives, that act, burning or heat sealing synthetic hair, can release volatile organic compounds, we are calling them VOCs, directly into the air around you. These are the gases that come off, you know, certain plastics when heated. So we agree this is made of plastic. So you are technically heating plastic. And the researchers found chemicals like benzene, styrene, chloroethane, and acetonitrile. All those words, guys, they're on your screen. All of which are either known or suspected human carcinogens. And here is where it gets real. Black women and hairstylists are breathing that air in our small unventilated salons day after day. One of the toxicologists on the study told Consumer Reports that the concentrations may be low for a single client, but the cumulative exposure for stylists who handle and burn this hair all day, every day, can become significant over time. So if you are a saloonist and you've noticed you're always, you're always coughing something, that is why. And today I'll talk to you about so many findings, because we can't come and have a conversations on how poisonous synthetics are if we don't cite sources. So there's a similar finding from a 2019 investigation by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, which tested salon air when synthetic hair was heat treated. They found that right after burning or heat sealing synthetic hair, the air in the salon was full of tiny particles and strong chemical fumes, including formaldehyde, which is a chemical that experts have already confirmed can cause what? Cancer. That means every time the stylist flicks that lighter, there is a mini cloud of invisible plastic smoke containing toxins that settle on your face, on your nose, on your scalp, and even on nearby clients. Now, think about the scalp itself. Let's move to the scalp. Our scalp are very porous. They absorb what we put on them, and that is why essential oils, hair food, and medicated treatments will work, because they are absorbed. But that also means anything resting there for weeks, the dyes, the preservatives, the residue from synthetic fiber can enter the skin barrier. Dermatologists at the American Academy of Dermatology have confirmed that many synthetic hair products contain acrylonitrile and vinyl chloride residues, both skin irritants that can cause redness, the rashes, and the allergic contact dermatitis. In plain English, that constant itching and burning some of you feel right after getting braids is not always tension. Si ati umekazwa sana. It's often a chemical reaction. You see how you are like, God, what is happening? Some of you even undo the braids because you think they are a bit tight. But that sensitive feeling, that irritation, those are chemicals. And as we've said, whatever goes on top of the skin will be absorbed. Also, the way some of you will even put pens inside, or you'll be like, ouch, ouch, ouch. That feeling too. That is not your hair being tight or someone messed with the tightness of the braids. That is a chemical reaction. And at the end of the day, as I said, whatever sits on your skin will be absorbed internally. Let's go back, because today I just want to give you guys facts. I said I can't come here and just say synthetics are bad, synthetics can cause cancer. I'm quoting sources. A 2023 paper in the International Journal of Trichology documented that over 60% of Black women who reported post-braiding scalp irritation were reacting to chemical coatings on synthetic hair, including flame retardants and antibacterial agents used during manufacturing. Many of these coatings, especially those containing quaternary ammonium compounds, are meant to make the fiber more durable during shipping. In short, they are telling you, so you see how rusty this braid is. I know some of you have those expensive ones now that are shiny. That is a coating that is supposed to make this braid last longer. During what? During shipping. So it doesn't fade, so that it gets to you as a customer shiny and good looking. All right? But please remember, those chemicals they will use to coat this hair, this synthetic, this plastic, when you put that on your skin, it will cause swelling, flaking, and sometimes even hair loss around the edges. Again, when people say you are losing your edges, maybe your salonist is always tight. That is one cause. But have you looked at the chemicals as well? Yeah? Have we looked at what happens when that chemical comes? Self-explanatory, sindio? And we have to talk about what's happening in Africa too. Because unlike the US, where at least some testing and recalls are starting, African regulators are almost silent on this. Yeah. In Kenya, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and when you go to South African National Regulator for Compulsory Specifications, rarely test imported synthetic hair for toxic chemicals. You won't even find much details, as I said. You won't see the ingredients at all. So even here in Kenya alone, KEBS is not checking for toxic products in this hair. Most of this hair that comes into the continent is shipped through middlemen who will buy bulk from factories in China's different manufacturing cities there. They'll go get that from China and then they will ship it here. And according to a 2023 investigation by Reuters on Asia's plastic exports, much of the low-cost synthetic hair shipped to African markets is made from recycled or downgraded PVC, which means it's mixed with plastic waste, stabilizers, and cheap pigments containing lead and cadmium. And those two metals are banned in cosmetic pigments under European Union safety laws, but not here in most African countries. So the very same product line that is tightly regulated in Europe will be sold freely here in Africa. Whether you are watching this from Nairobi, Accra, Joburg, Zim, and you will not get any chemical disclosure. They won't tell you what is in this hair. Remember, even here in Kenya, KEBS does not classify synthetic hair as cosmetic or a chemical product. This hair is classified as textile import. That means it does not undergo the same safety testing as the hairsprays, skin creams, or even nail polish. It just goes through customs for tariff verification, but they won't do toxicity screening. So imagine this. You have a container full of synthetic braiding hair arriving at Mombasa port. So, assuming that that cargo is worth 8 million shillings, customs will only check the invoice, they will confirm the import duty has been paid, and they'll clear it. But no one will check for benzene. No one will test this for other chemicals. No one asks if it releases dioxins when burnt. It will go straight to wholesalers in Dubois. We have our own Dubois here, Dubois. Or it will go to other places where you get these products. You'll find these products in Meru, in Kisumu, all these beauty shops. And then you will go and buy this. It landed with all those toxins. And then you'll go buy, and by next weekend, this will be sitting on your head. All right? Have you seen? And I want us to pay attention to the fact that this here is not checked for toxins. It's not. And I want you to look at that pack. Whether you are getting this from major brands, I don't want to mention names today, but we know the major brands. Please check at that pack. You won't see even any chemicals that have been listed. You won't see anything. Back to our reports. A 2024 report by African Institute for Environmental Health found that over 70% of synthetic hair products sold in East Africa are imported without ingredient labels or safety data sheets. And this is a violation of the African Union Model Law on Chemicals Management. They are already violating the laws. So it's not that they don't know that you need ingredients listed. They know. But please start blaming your government for letting this enter the market while violating the laws. And here's the truth. Most African regulators don't even have labs equipped to test for these compounds. Only South Africa and Egypt have limited capacity for cosmetic chemical testing. And even then, synthetic hair is not high on their priority list. That means millions of African women are unknowingly wearing imported plastic that would fail European safety checks. And because of the economic realities, unemployment, cost of living, beauty expectations, synthetic hair is the affordable option. A packet of these braids cost around 65 bob here in Kenya. A packet. And you need like 4 packets and you are done, right? Then you pay, of course, the labor fee. So with a K or even 600, your hair is fully braided. So we know things are a bit tough. That's why most people would prefer this kind of braids. You cannot even compare that with a human wig. I think a good human wig you need to part with around 8 to 10K. Yeah? So women will definitely choose what they can afford. But guys, affordability should not mean toxicity. And let's talk about how deep this market is. The African Development Bank estimated in 2023 that the synthetic hair and beauty extension industry in Africa is worth what? $6 billion annually, with Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa leading the demand. That's $1 billion industry thriving in markets where no mandatory safety testing exists. And if you follow the money, it tells you something. The largest manufacturers and distributors are foreign companies, okay? The profit will leave Africa, but we will stay with these risks, okay? So can you imagine, for such an industry, for such a sector worth billions and billions, what has stopped African countries from demanding more? And then you will come to the cultural part. We are told these are protective styles, that, you know, they will save time, you know, they are professional, you'll be okay. But the truth is, our governments have done almost nothing to protect us. No chemical warnings on the packs, no expiry dates. Guys, do you know in those packs we don't even have expiry dates? Like there's no expiry dates, there's no when will this expire, no. No regulations on heat sealing in salons, not even ventilation guidelines for hairdressers. There's nothing. And these factories are not required to disclose their chemical treatments unless they are exporting where? To the European Union. So what lands in Africa is often a lower grade version of what would be sold in Europe. Cheaper, less regulated, and with zero warning labels. Let that sink in. You walk into a salon, sit for a couple of hours, pay what you gotta pay, and walk out with what you think is a protective style. But that protective style may be leaching lead, you know? It may be leaching dioxins into your scalp. Substances that the World Health Organization has linked to hormonal disruption, reproductive issues, and even developmental problems in children. We love these colors for our children. We love these colors for our children, right? There's no escaping this, even for a child. These styles, whether you are putting on a child or not, they will stay in for weeks. Sometimes, as we said, months. And that exposure is not just once, it's constant. Because mark you, by the way, if you are a braids person, once you undo your hair, I used to do braids, so I know what I'm talking about. I used to hate my hair this way. So every time I do braids and then I undo, the next week I'm in the same salon. Nirudishe zile knotless, niweke zile knotless, box braids, etc., you know, because I didn't like my hair being this way. So it's a constant risk. When children are going back to school, you do the black. When they come home for holidays, you do the colors, right? Like we are always in salons, in and out, in and out, in and out, doing our hairs. It can't even breathe, you know? And that's why doctors from Harvard's, hey guys, have you seen the people we are quoting? These are not small researchers or small people. Now we are about to quote doctors from Harvard's Environmental Health Department and Howard University School of Medicine. These people are now calling this an emerging public health blind spot. They say black women are being systematically overexposed to cosmetic chemicals that are under-tested, under-regulated, and over-marketed. And guys, I want to make sure you understand that if these are people in America who are already going through this, where at least regulations, you know, at least we can give them that. At least they regulate some of these things. Can now imagine here in Africa, where we are already telling you, even these things are classified as textiles. Imagine here in Africa. So that protective style that is going to keep your hair safe from breakage might what? Be quietly harming your body in ways you are only beginning to understand right now. And here is what makes this more worrying. It's not just about that one braid session, as we've said, or that one wig install. It's the accumulation. Because many black women are not doing this once in a year. We are doing it like 20 times in a year. As I said, you take out the braids on Saturday, wash oil, and then you go back to the same salon. Some of us will even braid our daughters every 2 or 3 weeks. And that means over years, guys, over years, your scalp, your skin, and your body are being exposed to low levels of the same chemicals over and over again. All right? I'm going to quote a review here. A 2022 review by Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health. They said, these cumulative exposures are especially concerning because many of the substances found in synthetic hair, things like styrene, formaldehydes, the byproducts, the heavy metals are classified as endocrine disruptors. And that means these chemicals will interfere with the body's hormones. I'll keep speaking about hormones, guys. Estrogen, progesterone, thyroid hormones, even at low doses. Harvard researchers noted that black women who are largely exposed to these cosmetic chemicals show higher levels of certain endocrine disrupting compounds in their blood and urine compared to other groups. A 2023 study in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute backed that up, finding that long-term exposure to some of these hormones disrupting chemicals may partly explain why black women in the US have higher rates of uterine fibroids and certain reproductive cancers despite overall lower lifetime use of mainstream cosmetics. All right? And remember what we said earlier. When the synthetic hair burns, it gives off benzene, dioxins, and vinyl chloride. All three of those are on the World Health Organization's list of confirmed human carcinogens. Dioxins in particular build up in body fat and breast tissue and can stay in the system for decades. According to the World Health Organization Environmental Health Criteria reports, there is no safe level of dioxin exposure. So even the smallest exposure can harm you. Think about this in context. You are exposed through the scalp. You breathe it in during installation. You sleep in it. You sweat in it. And you will wear it over weeks. Over time, that is not small. That is steady chronic exposure. And science says chronic exposure to endocrine disruptors and carcinogens is exactly how long-term disease patterns develop. And now we've seen this story before. Remember chemical relaxers? For decades, women were told they were safe. No warning, no transparency, until studies started showing, like those from NCI and NIH, that women who used chemical straighteners frequently were at higher risk of uterine cancer. And that over 60% of those women were black. That's why researchers like Tamara James, a reproductive epidemiologist at Harvard, keep saying this. Hair care products used most commonly by black women are often the least tested and the most toxic. She's not talking about conspiracy theories. She's talking about a measurable science. So when people say, oh, Lynn, these are just braids, I want us to pause and remember that we said the same thing about relaxers. We said it's just a chemical to make life easier, make our hair smooth, until the lawsuit started. until the cancer started, until the FDA in America itself admitted that black women were largely affected. And what's sad is that it's always the same pattern. Companies profit first, regulators react later, and black women pay the health price in between. When you go to China, and I say this with all due respect, you won't find them wearing these things. You won't find them wearing these things because they know what these things are made of. You know, they know what these things are made of. So when we talk about this synthetic hair, we are not just judging, you know. We are talking about environmental racism in beauty. Products with higher toxic profiles being marketed to the very communities least protected by regulations. And here is what hurts. The very styles that help women feel confident, presentable, and culturally beautiful are being turned into a quiet health risk. One that nobody is warning us about, because in the global system, black women's safety has never been a priority market. So when you hear me say this is not just a beauty conversation, that's exactly what I mean. This is a policy conversation. It's a justice conversation. It's a sovereignty conversation. Why are our ports clearing chemicals that other regions have banned? Why are our salons being treated like dumping grounds for unsafe products? Why are we normalizing the idea that looking neat should come with fumes, you know, rashes, headaches, irritations? This is not about me instilling fear. This is about us taking back the power. Because the moment African women understand what's in these products, the moment we all understand what's in these products, this market will shift overnight. They will do right by us. They will do right by us. And now that we've spoken, what can we do with all this information? Because I know some people will say, okay, Lynn, you've told us what is wrong, but what is the solution? We can't still afford human hair every month, so what do? This hair is rough, by the way. Let me tell you, every time I see someone with this hair, I clap for them. This is sometimes the most hectic. I know it's rough, sometimes it's tough. It's tough. But if you have 4C hair, boy, I know it's tough. And I know that's why we look up to this as a solution. So when people say, Lynn, we still can't afford human hair, we don't want to look as shaggy as you look. Me, I see even someone on the comment telling me, Lynn, you went to salon. Hey. Yeah? Mimi. No. You know, after learning these things now, you become very cautious. And not to say that we are better than anyone, but there is zero regulation for me to trust this product at all. There is zero reason why I can trust this product. But there's Ngugi. You know, before, I don't think many people even knew this was plastic. I don't think so. Okay, this is softer. This is a bit softer, you know, but still plastic. So, I'm not saying that, let's have this conversation so that we can shame anyone for what you will wear. But it's about awareness and protection. We have to create awareness and demand better. Yeah? So first, I'm going to give you a couple of solutions that all of us can, participate in. Let's start small. Let's start right at the salon level. If you're getting your hair braided, make sure there's ventilation. Open those windows, open those doors, have a fan. Because according to the U.S. National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, burning or dipping synthetic hair in closed spaces can double the amount of VOCs in the air within minutes, especially chemicals like benzene. And these are gases that irritate the lungs. And with repeated exposure, they can damage the nervous system. So if your stylist is always making sure those... No, not today. But if they're always using a lighter, ask her to do it away from your face. That is actually not even a solution. It's still gonna go to the air, guys. So I don't even think that's a solution. Maybe not do it at all. Don't do it at all. Because the World Health Organization lists burning PVC fibers, which is what most synthetic braids are made of, as a direct source of dioxins and hydrogen chloride gas, both of which are, as we said, carcinogenic. Please realize, dioxins don't leave the body easily. They accumulate in fat and breast tissue, as we said. So every small exposure matters. So for me, instead of even telling your stylist, do it away from my face, because it's still going to the air, maybe don't do it at all. But remember, you've sorted out the ends, but have you sorted out the scalp? Okay? So if your scalp reacts, you know, it itches, there's irritation, it's burning, please don't ignore it. As we said, that is not tension. It's your skin telling you it's reacting to a chemical coating. Okay? Even dermatologists have said that many synthetic fibers are treated with antimicrobial agents, dyes, flame retardants that can trigger allergic contact dermatitis and worsen conditions like eczema or dermatitis. A 2023 study in the International Journal of Trichology found that rinsing new synthetic hair in diluted apple cider vinegar before installation reduces irritation in a significant number of women. So yes, our mothers who used to soak new braids in ash or whatever they used before, they were not old-fashioned. They were being protective. Now that is the real protective. So soak this in apple cider vinegar if you can. You know, have your water, soak this, and maybe then it's going to be safe. And then, please guys, don't keep braids for too long. I know we love doing them for 4 weeks, 2 months. No, don't do that. Experts at Harvard recommend limiting long-term contact with treated synthetic fibers to no more than what? 6 weeks at a time. That gives your scalp time to breathe and reduces the chemical contact period. Again, it does not do away with the chemicals going inside your skin. It just limits. And maybe be intentional about where you buy your hair. Ask for product details. Many of these cheap packets on the market, they have no ingredient list, no country of origin, and no compliance labels. That's a red flag. From today, if you are going to buy braids and you see that braid haina details, leave it alone. If it has no details, please leave it alone. The African Institute for Environmental Health has urged African beauty supply stores to start demanding safety data sheets from their suppliers. But so far, very few do. So when you go to your favorite store in Dubois, ask them for those details. And we also need to start putting pressure on our governments. KEBS, if you are watching this, do what you are supposed to do. Because this is not just a salon issue. This is a policy failure. The African Union's Chemical Management Framework of 2019 gives every member state the right to regulate consumer imports for health safety. But as this year, 2025, fewer than 5 countries have enforced it in cosmetics. Kenya's KEBS will test sugar, they'll test cement, even paint, but none for synthetic hair. They won't test synthetic hair. Even when you go to South Africa, they still classify braiding, you know, this fiber as non-hazardous textile material. And that is how blind our systems are. Now compare and contrast that with the European Union. These things can't enter there. So yes, we can protect ourselves in small ways, but we also need to demand bigger accountability. Because the truth is, until regulators are forced to act, companies will keep sending low-quality products our way. And I've told you guys, these things come from where? China and Korea. So they don't care about, they just care about the money that they will make, exit with profits, and you guys will carry the risks. And we also need public education. Salons should be trained on safe handling. If you can regulate barber shops for hygiene, surely you can regulate salons for air quality. If you can test imported fertilizers for toxins, see, you also test this imported braiding here. See, you test it, please. But here's another angle that is slowly growing. African innovators are actually starting to create alternatives. There is a company by the name Rebundle. You guys can check it out on Instagram. This is not an ad. But they have been experimenting with plant-based braiding fiber made from banana stem and kenaf, which are biodegradables and toxin-free. These are small beginnings, yes, but they prove something very important. We don't have to choose between beauty and safety. Imagine an Africa where our protective styles are actually protective. Not just for our hair, but for our health, our children, and our environment. Imagine such Africa. Because here is the truth. What we put on our heads should not be poisoning our bodies. And that's the message every woman, every stylist, and every policymaker needs to hear. So, to every black woman watching this is not about fear. By all means, I'm not here to instill fear. This is about freedom. You know, freedom to ask questions, the freedom to demand safer beauty, the freedom to protect your children, the way our mothers protected us by dipping these things into ash, into vinegar, into all those things. And always remember, our crown should never come with cancer warnings. You know? And if we truly call these styles protective, then they should protect all of us. You know, they should protect all of us. They should protect our health, our dignity, and our future, if we truly call them protective. But calling them protective and then they end up damaging us, nah. You know, and having such shows or such conversation is a good way. Because now we can actually demand better. We can actually demand better. So let us start these conversations. Let us have them with the beauty stylists, our policymakers. Let us demand better. And please, the next time you sit in that salon chair, I hope you remember this moment. Because knowledge is the most powerful protective style you will ever wear. So remember all these things. Demand better, ask for better, ask your policymakers to regulate these things, check them or test them for toxins, you know. Tusikubali too, let us not normalize just having Africa as a dumping ground for these things. By the way, this one is hard, so I can already imagine the plastic that made it was horrible. This one is very hard. So I don't know what your pick from this conversation is. Sorry guys, it took me almost a month to bring this conversation. I know we are behind schedule from the time I promised you, but a lot has happened in between. Suluhu happened. So we had to deal with Suluhu. And then now deal with this industry here. So guys, I hope you've learned a thing or two. Mine is just to go and wash my hands after this. Because, nah. And Africans, make sure that whatever you see that is being regulated heavily in the European Union, start demanding better for yourself. Oh yeah, please remember, we are the largest market for synthetic fiber in the world. $6 billion annually. So if you don't start demanding better, I don't know what you're waiting for. You know? And now what I'll do, I'll observe large brands, you know them. If they don't put labels, I'll make sure this becomes my job to bring those braids here and tell you guys, look at these braids. They still won't do what's necessary. Please stop paying influencers. Me, I'm not mad you are not paying me, but stop paying influencers to continue selling damage to our people. Me, I don't want you to pay me, but I will hold you accountable. I will hold you accountable, and I will be back with an episode now with the brands and their names and show you for real there are no ingredients there. This is not a conversation that we can just have one episode on. This is a conversation that we must keep having. So I'll make it my mission to come here and remind you of all these brands that you love that won't take care of you. You can't continue taking our money and then be so loose when it comes to selling us safe things. That is not acceptable. That is not the Africa we dream of. We will dream of an Africa where we give you $6 billion and you do right by us. Please, Africans, lose the fear. Start demanding better. Why should someone be so comfortable selling you a cancerous product? A product that is going to mess your health. Why should we normalize that? What's the fear for? Boycott these hair products. Don't buy them until they do right by you. Don't purchase these pink things and these blue things for your children until these companies do right by you. Always remember, you are where the money is. And if you are where the money is, start demanding better. You know, and let me tell you something. If this is already happening in the US, where at least people follow few rules here and there, here in Africa, you are waiting for cabs to come and save you. No. They're already not saving you at all, at all. They don't even care whether you guys get these diseases or not. They don't give a hoot. So take your power back. Let us normalize spending money where we are respected in terms of safety and regulations. Don't be those people who are comfortable giving out your money and then you let someone make a killing out of you and then leave. Cancer is not easy to treat. It's not easy to treat. It's not easy to treat at all, at all. Those hormonal disruptions that we are going through, you know, it's just that these people don't want to use maybe the language that we are all thinking of. What if the effects are even bigger? I'm not saying that's proven, but I'm just asking, you know, what if there are some people who potentially cannot even conceive because of this and that and that? I'm not saying this, but I'm just saying, let us normalize having these conversations. From all the studies that I have quoted, only 2 of them are African. So you can see how behind we are, even in studies and reviews. You can see how behind we are. And I know every woman, including me, we've gone through this journey. But what we will not now normalize is putting toxic products on our head, and then we end up paying the price. So all the braids in Kenya, the products, please be warned. Next time I'm not going to hide labels. I'm actually going and I'm coming and I will open these labels. You know, they even tell you to return to the shop for recycling. Eh? They even tell you, by the way, ukishabomoa, return to our shop for recycling. Eh? These people play too much. So if you don't do right by the citizens, next time I won't hide the brands. I will come here with the brands and I will read. Today, I want you to do that assignment for yourself. But next time, I'm coming here with their names. And I'm going to read out what ingredients are there because they are 0. They will just tell you, you can use hot water friendly. They'll tell you that. They'll tell you human hair like. There's nothing human hair about this plastic. So, our big companies, our big hair industries in Kenya, if you don't do right by the people, we can only start this conversation in one country. But I'll make sure this becomes my African mission, that you do right by the people. And if you don't do, I will sing that song here every single day until we start seeing ingredients in those packs. And still we start seeing those KEBS stickers on those packs. And still, until you start creating awareness. Until you start advocating for the safer use of these products, I'll make it my mission to talk about you. Yes. All right, my darlings? Good. All right. So, to all the people that have watched this, my darlings, my angels, everyone that has watched this, I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you guys for watching. Now demand better. Africa is ours and Africa will make it our business. There is no way you'll keep benefiting from people like this without disclosing the dangers of these products, cannot and shan't and won't happen. By the way, all of us now will become scientists. We will all become scientists, and we will make sure that we explore. This is $1 billion company. Let me remind you that, guys, $1 billion industry annually. Not just 1B, 6 billion US dollars. Do right by the people. All right? Mine was just to come and tell you the truth, making sure I put as many links on the description as possible, so that you guys, when you get time, you can go through those reviews and through those studies. Share this with as many black women as possible. We won't repeat the conversation here, chemicals. No, we were there before with these chemicals, these texturizers, these things. Now we won't repeat the same with braids. And if you know of an alternative braid company that is doing right by its people, let me know on the comment section. Let me know on the comment section, because we need to hype them up. And I'll do that for free. Don't pay me, I'll do it for free. I'll come here and also hype alternative companies like Rebundle that are doing right by the black people. That is the only way we can grow. Stop normalizing this habit of stealing from Africans and then leaving us here with diseases that we keep asking ourselves, where did these diseases come from? We won't normalize that. But that's me today. Just wanted you guys to have a clear feel of why this conversation is a must-have for all of us. Because I know every family is doing one or two. You know, I've been there before, but I didn't know. I didn't know. Part of this research was me every time like, huh? Wait, what? Wait, sorry? Yeah, that was me the whole time. And it has taken me a month plus, and I've been there like, huh? Jesus Christ. Let's leave this foolishness. That's it from me, guys, today. But I hope we've learned and relearned a thing or two, okay? Yeah. I feel good we've had this conversation. Can I tell you what our next conversation will be? Yeah, cooking pots, okay? That's another one we have to have. But share your thoughts on the comment section. Feel free to hype anyone that you know is doing the alternative on the comment section. Especially if it's an African brand, feel free to hype it, okay? Yeah. So see you guys on the next one. And I also love the suggestions. I know you guys have waited for this for a long time, but I'm happy we delivered. Not sure if we delivered according to your expectations, but we delivered something, at least something that can kickstart this conversation. And I appreciate my whole team, our research team. It takes a lot to put things together sometimes. You'll have your eyes like, oh God, I can't do this anymore, you know. But we have to keep educating our brothers and sisters. All right? So I want to appreciate our team at LNN for filming this. Everyone that contributes to making sure that we are bringing you impactful conversations. Thank you so much, okay? And anyone that is contributing towards independent journalism, please don't wait for these brands to sponsor our shows. They will never, if anything, they will hate us from here to Timbuktu. But we love that you guys appreciate independent journalism that cannot be controlled, cannot be limited, and cannot be told this is what you have to say. We are here to tell you the truth. We cannot be bought. We will tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. So we appreciate anyone that is contributing towards independent journalism. Yeah, that's our MPESA number there. Proudly, please contribute if you found this informative, if you can. There's also a PayBill number. Our PayPal account is right there. And if you cannot contribute financially, guys, we appreciate you subscribing, sharing, liking, and commenting to this video, okay? Yeah, so my name is Lynn Ngugi. Thank you, Muga, behind the scenes, Scholar, Joshua, for always making sure I'm saying the right things even when the words are so hard. EJ, for always participating in researching and fact-checking majority of these episodes, and the rest of our people at LNN, Valerie, Mutange, our amazing editors, Dave and Sam. We appreciate each and every one of you, all right? So, yeah, oh, I'm so sorry. Keith, our intern Keith, karibu sana. Yeah, so we appreciate each and every one of you, and we don't take your support for granted as well. So keep it LNN, the home of truth, where we are speaking truth to power. Mechoka na hizi vitu zinaninukia, by the way. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Bye.